A deal on Dickens, who could resist? A stack of Austen, warmly kissed. Golden Age crime tales twist and turn, every page a treasure to learn. Books keep coming home with me, piles so tall they're all I see. Turn a page and sail the sea, reading always feels so free.
Hi, my name is Talia. Welcome to Talia Nerds Out. I already did a wrap-up video for July, and I figure it's about time to give a general overview of my plans for August. So, first things first, I'm going to be continuing with Big Book Summer / taking advantage of my open month for the David McCullough read-along to try to catch up on Truman. So, Truman is one that's continuing on since I started it. I can't remember when Truman was started. I think I had Truman for 2 months. So it would have been, I probably started Truman in June. So, July? No, June, because this is an extra month. So, I made some progress since last I showed it, but I really do need to pick up the pace for Truman. It is quite a thick book, even with taking out the end notes and acknowledgement. I still have a very big section left to read, although thankfully it is a fast read when I actually sit down and do it. Also for August, also another book that I started this for Big Book Summer, but also for the June's Journey with the Inklings. Now, I had finished Baron and Luthien for that read-along, but I am still working on the Fellowship, Literary Lives of the Inklings. This one, I believe I'm actually, it looks like I'm farther along than I am with Truman, because let me take out the notes. Taking out the notes, it almost looks like I'm a little less than half, so. Then I have a book that I've been using for both Big Book Summer and for Historathon, a mixture of quarter 2 and quarter 3, because this covers both medieval and Tudor eras. And it's another one that there's a lot of interesting stuff in here, but I do, even more than Truman or the Fellowship, I feel like I need to have some brain power to me when I read this. And this is an Eamon Duffy book, The Stripping of the Altar. So those are my Big Book Summer ones that I need to hopefully get finished, but I will have to actually, be not only motivated to read, but also be very focused when I read. Now, speaking about being, focused and committed to the stuff that I need to read, here is my buddy read with Arion of Bookzelots, 1812. I believe we had decided that we would finish it sometime in September, but this is a read-along book that I need to get some reading on. So, I think that I'm still on a pretty good track for this one to finish, during that September time period when I actually, sit and read it. But, yeah, I don't think that this, once I sit down, it'll be any problem to make my way through this. I just don't want to get too far ahead of my buddy for the buddy read. So, not really rushing with this one. Other ones that I am already reading and maybe kind of hope to get some more reading on. Hope to continue reading John Quincy Adams for quarter 3 of Historathon. It's very enjoyable so far. This was a recommendation by Bookzealots, by Ariana Bookzealots. So I just haven't read as much of it as I would have liked because I was focusing on some other books. This one is one that I just need to sit down and finish. This is kind of a mixture of folklore book and history book. Vampires, Burial, and Death by Paul Barber. I'm not in a rush to finish it, but I would kind of like to, knock it out and then not have to, have that just sort of sitting there in the back of my brain. I also have a randomly vampirized medieval donkey for my magnetic bookmark, which felt like it was very appropriate for this book. But, yeah, I've been slowly making my way through this, although I don't think I read it at all last month. Then that leads me into the indie author August that's being run by, it's a new read-along by Kevin Tolles. I'll link his channel below. I'll try to remember to do that. Now, I don't have a ton of indie authors that I read. I tend to read a lot of classics, or if I'm not reading older publications, I'm reading a lot of history books. So not a lot of the stuff that I read, it lends itself to the indie author genre, subset. I do have some, however. The first one is one I will be starting is Just Stab Me Now by Jill Barup. I've followed her channel for years. She actually does a channel about, I'm going to call it stage fighting, like the kind of stuff you see for for stunt doubles and things like that. So she has a channel that's about that kind of thing. She reviews like fights in movies and those kind of topics. But she had a series on her channel that eventually turned into a book that she wrote, and this is the book that results from it. And like I said, I've been following her channel for years, even if I hadn't kept up with that particular series of hers. So I am reading this as a buddy read with my mom. Not as one of our, we read together kind of things. It's just a buddy read as far as we keep track of where each other are on Storygraph. Not actually reading it in the same room like we are doing Mansfield Park and Mary Queen of Apostles. So this is the definite indie read I'm reading. Now for the indie author read-along that Kevin has going, he has it that you're supposed to read 2 for the read-along over the month. I am not holding myself to really, I probably will not actually succeed at finishing that read-along because I don't really intend to push myself to finish 2 indie reads during that time period. Like I said, I don't read a lot of indie authors, so if I want to spread it past the 1 year, I'm not really in much of a hurry to add a second indie author to my reading docket. I do have the indie author books that I do happen to have are over here, and it's not a big collection. So, River Girl, The River Girl is a book by Lady Linda. She has a booktube channel, and this was a trade for, I gave her one of my crochet knit pattern books that I wrote, or a crochet knit pattern book that I wrote, and she did a trade, and I have her book. So I haven't gotten around to reading it yet, but if I was to happen to read 2 indie authors this year, she'd probably be the other one, because her book is on the shorter end in comparison to some of these other ones, without the text being like super teeny or anything. I'm just not pushing myself to declare more than one indie book that I'm definitely reading this year. Then another one is Finding a New Normal, Living Your Best Life with Chronic Illness. And this is by Susan L. Jackson. And she is another booktuber. I think her channel is Sue Jackson. this is a fairly recent acquisition. Then I double checked. This is actually an independently published. You could tell by, I don't know, I feel like the way it's set up kind of screams that. Catholic Liturgy, The Hours by Andrew Michael. I've been reading a lot of books on this topic lately, mostly because I want to get as full a picture as I can about this prayer that really dates back over the centuries. So this is just a different perspective. It is independently published. Now, my final two I've had for a while. One of them is not a reading book. This is Pumping Your Muse by Donna Sundblad. My mom wrote with her for quite a few years, and I was in a online writing group with them for maybe a couple years. It wasn't very long, but I think she signed this one for me. Yeah, she signed Pumping Your Muse for me. She has at least I think she has 5 other books out, 5 other novels besides the one I'm going to show you next. So she has a nice little repertoire. I do believe that she's still considered an indie publisher, though. Or indie published, an indie author. Now, this is the only one of her novels that I have. And I don't remember if this was... Oh, okay. I actually was involved in some of the, not any of the series editing. I saw some of the drafts of this in our writing group. So I've not actually read the finished. I read early drafts while she was still looking for basic editing. I'm sure that she got more professional editing after she ran it through us at the Middle Earth writing group. But yes, I actually saw this as it was in development. Don't remember much other than some of the basics because it's been many years. But I do need to read this at some point. Not going to be likely this year because it's a little bit thicker to be paired with all my books I have for Big Book Summer plus Jill Barrett's. But I can't believe I haven't read this yet because I should have long ago. So yeah, those are the options I have going right now. Like the ones that my collection of indie books plus my intended August reads. These are not intended to be read. Probably not even this one. But this one will be finished in September. And then these, I'm sure not all these will be finished this month. At least I want to finish Truman though. And if I get absolutely lucky with the progress I make, I'd like to do the autobiography of the hunted priest. Obviously, of a hunted priest, but I'm not promising that to myself because I have quite a bit here to read and they aren't all like normal sized books. These are some of them quite thick. So I'm not going to completely commit myself because I might want to throw in random read here or there when I just feel like having something quick to make my way through. I don't want to take away all my wiggle room. So yeah, that's it for my plans for August. Yeah, we'll see how this coming month goes. I'm hoping that after this video, you'll see a couple of my July reviews pop up. I also hope to create some reviews for some books that somehow I haven't finished reviewing from earlier in the year. I just hadn't gotten around to them. I probably should need to look through the books, type up a review, so then I can like re-solidify what I thought about them in my mind because it's been so long since I've looked at some of these books. But yeah, and I also have other books that are waiting for me to finish editing their videos, other videos that I need to finish editing, not necessarily just book reviews, that I need to finish editing and posting. So I have several for June, not a huge amount for July, but some for July. So I'm slowly but surely working my way through my surplus videos, but I do still have some. But yeah, thank you very much for joining me. Hope that you enjoyed looking at some of my plans for August. And are you planning on taking part in the new Indie Author August? Are you someone who reads a lot of indie authors? Like I said, I don't read a ton, but I think it's the genres that I tend to prefer to read in. But yeah, I guess that's it for me. I will see you all for the next video. God bless. Bye.
Books keep coming home with me, piles so tall they're all I see. Turn a page and sail the sea. Reading always feels so free.